Hello, everyone, and welcome to Daily Grace with Pastor James. I'm so glad you have joined me today. Today, we are going to be looking at decisions. Decisions. What do you do? How do you take a godly decisions? What are those things that you consider before you take a decision? Decision is something that we take every single day of our life. In fact, every moment of our lives. As we are talking now, you are taking a decision to listen to me. And the decision that you take can affect you, can affect the people around you. What you are today is a function of all the decisions that you have taken in the past, and what you are going to be tomorrow and the day after and in future is determined by the decision you take today and the subsequent decisions you take in your life. So decisions are critical. Decisions make or mar you. You can take decisions on your own. You can also advise other people on how to take a better decision, especially if you are a mentor and your protege or your mentee come to you asking for an advice. You give them godly advice on how to take godly decisions. So what are those things that you need to consider when you are taking godly decisions? What are those things that you need to consider when you are taking decisions that will not just affect you, but affects everybody around you, your family members and even your non-family members? The first thing that you need to realize is you want to ask yourself, will the action that you are about to take, will it be helpful? Will the decision you are about to take, will it be helpful? Yes, we all have freedom. We all have freedom to take decisions. We all have freedoms to make decisions. You have that right and that freedom to make decisions. But the truth is, you are not in control of the consequences of your decisions. And that is the reason, the main reason why you have to be careful when you are taking decisions, because of the consequences, so that you have a positive consequence. And Paul tells us, he says, our freedom in Christ means that everything is allowable. But he reminds us that not everything is beneficial. In other words, you have freedom, but that freedom, somebody once said, that always temper your freedom with discipline, because if you don't temper your freedom with discipline, you enter into a problem. 1 Corinthians 6:12 says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Nothing should control you. You should be in control of the decisions that you are taking. And from that 1 Corinthians 6:12, it makes us to know that we should ask ourselves, will it make me a better person? The decision I'm taking today, will it make me a better person? If it will not make me a better person, then why am I taking that decisions? You see, in life, many things are not necessarily wrong, but just that they are not necessary at a particular time and point in your life. Then does it tend to control me? The decisions that you're making now, does it tend to control you, or are you still in control? Exodus 20 verse 3 says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. If what you are trying to take decision on is controlling you, that means that is your God. And God has warned us that we should not have any other God. The second factor that you should consider in making a godly decision is, does it bother my conscience? Does it prick me as not being good? Does it bother my conscience? 1 Peter 2 verse 16 says, for you are free, yet you are God's slave. So don't use your freedom as an excuse to do evil. Don't use your freedom as an excuse to do evil. Remember Adam, when he sinned in the Garden of Eden, he immediately went to hide. And that is the way we do most of the time. When we take the wrong decision and then the consequences come, we want to go and hide. Proverbs 28:13 says, if you hide your sin, you will not be successful. If you hide your sin, you will not succeed. We should try not to hide our sin. In other words, we should do the right thing at the right time. The third thing you need to consider is, will your action hurt somebody? Will your action hurt somebody? If your action could hurt somebody, then that's probably is a legitimate reason to limit your freedom. It's a legitimate reason to limit your freedom. Paul was telling us in 1 Corinthians 8, he said that's where he was describing the debate that was going on amongst the brethren, where in those days they offer ram, sheep, meat to their idols in sacrifice. And then some Christians, even right now, even today, some people do it. They'll say it doesn't matter, they will go and eat it. But then, when you eat it, that singular action probably is going to cause a new Christian, a new convert, to backslide and go back to the idol worshipping. So you see, you have used your freedom to affect another person negatively. Because the pagans also know that those meats, nobody will buy them. So they want to sell them at a discount. The fact that they are selling them at a discount does not mean that you should go and buy them and eat. 1 Corinthians 8:8 says, be careful, however, that the exercise of your right does not become a stumbling block to the weak. Your action should not become a stumbling block to the weak. Now, it does not mean that if your action is going to offend people, you should not do it, even if it's the right thing to do. No, that is not what the stumbling block is saying, because even Jesus Christ offended a lot of people. What he's saying is, if your action or your words will cause a new convert to backslide, to go back to their old ways, you should not do it. And that is the stumbling block that we are talking about. And the fourth thing you need to consider is this. Is it a loving action that you are taking? Jesus told us the second greatest commandment is for us to love our neighbors as ourselves. The action and the decision you're about to take, is it a loving one? Galatians 5:13 says, for you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. I pray and I hope that these steps that we have taken to making a godly decision has been quite helpful for you. If it has, please consider to share this amongst your peers, among the people you know, so that it can also help them. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. Once again, my name is Pastor James Egodibie, and I pastor RCCG Solid Rock Parish, Derby, 55 Woods Lane, DE 223UD. If you are around Derby and you don't have a Bible believing church, please join us. We have wonderful brethren and you always feel at home in the family. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode.